Hey guys, welcome back. Magic and Mayhem. I'm here with the husband, Mark. Again, I'm Stacie.
You said Magic and Mayhem.
Oh,
That's not the name of the show.
we do? Take two?
Yep.
All right, take two. Hey everybody, welcome back to Marriage and Mayhem. Again, I'm Stacie here with my husband, Mark. And let's get started talking about a whole bunch of life stressors and shit like that.
I think happiness. I'm not stressed. Are you stressed from being married? Or life?
No.
Life stress you down?
No.
No? Okay.
Well, sometimes, but not right now.
So listen, this is a great time of year, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is like the September time frame. I'm going to give you a couple of reasons why. See if you agree. First off, the weather is almost perfect.
It's getting there. We live in North Carolina, so
Right.
One day it's 98, the next day it's 78.
No, but this has been the perfect swing
Getting
right now.
better.
For most people, their kids go back to school during this time frame,
Woohoo!
which makes everybody happy, right?
I think so.
And the most important reason is football season has begun. I know you love football season. NFL is great.
You know what I do like about football season?
Tell
is
me.
I know that what you're doing on Sundays and Monday night football, and I think it's Thursday nights too. It seems like it's so many
Yeah.
days a week. Means like you're into your own thing, so I don't have to worry about like
You don't have to entertain me
yeah,
for
I'm
the
like,
night.
sweet. Like, all right, he's got his football thing going, so I can, do whatever the hell I want. And he
Yeah.
probably wouldn't even know if I was here or there.
Oh, I know you're there. I come check on you. In
Not
your,
when football's on,
in
though.
your Zen den. Make sure you're still breathing in there.
I will say on Sundays, though, one of the good things about Sunday football is usually, since you're like, this is it, I'm home as of, this time, is you come up with like, this is what we're having. We're having these snacks and we're going to get
Oh, food choices.
food
Yeah.
choices for Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we'll put some meatballs in the crock pot and we got chips or dip and things. I'm like, all right, so at least we have some food planned out for one day. Of the
So
week.
my chili is coming soon. There's some chili coming. It's in the works.
Mark does make good chili. I'm going to give him that.
Yep. Kevin loves it.
That's
Kevin and
true.
Stacie love it. That's all that matters. Shout out to you, Kevin. All right, so listen, this is the beginning of our podcast, right? So we've been I finally roped you in after a year and a half to be part of a podcast with me. So Marriage and Mayhem, it's happening. Like we're doing this. So one of the things I love about having you in this is that you've taken on half of the work, right? Which it's been my Achilles heel, if you will, up until this point, because specifically the social media aspect of trying to run a podcast. I mean, any business really, but I don't know about other businesses. So we're going to talk about social media and podcasting
It's
because
awful.
we sat down and we were kind of dividing up like, all right, you do Instagram and I'll do Facebook. And then, you're a TikTok person or you're learning to be a TikTok person, right?
I would say I'm still not a TikTok person, but I will say this week, I happen to have like a vacation this week. I have spent so many hours on trying to figure out social media and like posting and what to post but like I don't want to share posts on the same site, so you got to mix it up. And then TikTok,
You got to be original, right? You can't just
I don't have the creativity to be like a creator on social media. So I'm just like, I don't know, I'm going to take some of these, I'm going to put me to the background. TikTok is a whole other world, and it's definitely not our generation.
right.
Facebook was what we grew up using for social media, right? It's easy. You post Facebook stuff. You post pictures of people
You
to
like
Facebook.
it or you don't.
Yeah, like you make comments, everybody's like happy. People put like a bunch of like fake stuff like my life is perfect and I love my husband so much, he's the best thing that ever happened to me. And usually I'm like, oh my God, like if you have to put that crap on Facebook, like come on.
Don't forget food. You got to take a picture of your food. You got to post that.
Yes, but okay, fine. TikTok, it's like it literally is a full-time job.
It's work.
People are like, this is how you get more followers. Like, I'm never creating a viral TikTok. I don't know how. But people say like, oh, if you want to do this and if you want to get more followers, you have to, do 3 posts a day And the biggest part is you have to,
That's ridiculous.
you have to comment and engage and engage and engage on everybody else's. So people that you're watching, you have to make a comment on them. And then you just do that like all day. Like multiple times a day, you're just supposed to be like engaging so that other people will return the favor, I guess, and like follow you and engage back to build your
Sounds like a circle
stuff.
jerk going on there or something.
It's a lot.
Oh my God.
And I don't know how to create the videos because there's so like people make some fancy stuff on there.
Yeah.
I have no idea how to use it, which I've been Googling, I've been trying. I ask my kids and they just look at me like I'm 100 years old. And I think they're just like embarrassed. And I'm like, so how do you do this like TikTok thing? And they're just like, okay, Mom, like.
Well, you've done good, like just taking like little, like you don't have to reinvent anything, right? So you can take some things people do and make like put you in it or put me in it, and then we just kind of add stuff. We have plenty of like stupid shit that we say, so you could just, hey, you know what? I'll type this in behind this picture and let's see what this looks like. And that's all this is. This is how brainless our society has become, where this is our entertainment. I mean, you and I have sat there for, an hour once just, hey, look at this dog. He's talking.
Oh my God,
look
it
at
was
this
so
guy with
funny.
the coffee mug. He's funny, and you're scrolling through. And next thing you know, 45 minutes goes by. I'm like, I wanted to go to bed 45 minutes ago.
It is. You
know?
get lost. You get like TikTok lost, just drowning in that, world. But again, like stuff that I just repost with like different wording, or I take a video but put us in the background, whatever it is, like it's not engaging. So like we'll have like 22 followers our whole life.
Yeah.
If I'm not doing any of the like engage into everybody else's page. But I don't know who has time for that.
Well, I think that so far, it's been just a short period of time. You, like I said, you spent your entire vacation week, doing that, right? So you've been working for $0. But I think that you've done a good job. Your education level has grown as far as the TikTok goes.
I don't know how lifelong that will
Right.
get me, but so let's just set expectations. I go back to work on Monday, so the social media aspect is probably going to plummet to less than 3 posts a day on every social media.
So what I figured out was, like this has always been there, but I was messing around. When you link your Facebook and Instagram account, you have this whole business suite. So there's some cool features in there for anyone else that's trying to figure out some social media. You can schedule posts and different things, and the insights are awesome. If you're kind of an analytic geek like me, you can look at some of the stats. You can see the demographics you're sending to and the location. So there's some cool stuff you can figure out there. But if anyone's listening and you fancy yourself a social media expert, we are open for tips. Don't be shy.
Yeah.
Reach out to us. And if there's things that you've learned along the way, happy to give you a shout out to your site. If you want to give us some tidbits, we can play that game if we want to.
Yeah, I'm all about it.
Looking for some pro tips here. We need pro tips.
Any help we can get.
Right. It is a lot of work doing my other podcast essentially alone. You get tiresome doing it. Like you come home, like you said, you spent vacation days doing it, and I'm like, well, I got to work a full-time gig, come home, do whatever house stuff, and then you get a few hours to yourself to be like, okay, how do you want to spend that time? And it's a little nerve-wracking. Sometimes you just want to go out, like get some fresh air, maybe talk to actual humans.
I generally don't, but it did take a little away from like some reading or like some sort of Netflix thing. But
Yep.
luckily I didn't really have any big plans, so it didn't take away from much.
Yeah, that's true too. But you know what? I think that we've become kind of those homebodies anyway, right? Like we, so not that we were ever big partiers, right? Like we were never like, well, let me take that back. There were some stretches where that happened. I'd say the last few years or so now we've toned it back quite a bit. But yeah, it's like I don't know. Like I don't want to say this because we're old, but I'll have like a friend will be like, "Hey, come on, we're gonna go out for some drinks. I'll meet you there at like 8." I'm like 8. Is that PM? Like I'm ready to be chilling on my couch here, watching a show or two. But sometimes you got to have some FaceTime with people.
Somebody recently just invited you out, and it was the same thing. You were like, gosh, they want to meet at like 8:00, and that's late. And I was like, they keep asking you, and you keep wanting to put it at like 4:00. I'm like, pretty soon they're gonna stop asking. Like
Right.
every once in a while, we have to be like, oh, okay, I'll stay up late tonight. But It's true. When I cringe at sometimes when people invite me to certain things that's not like breakfast. Like, let's meet up for breakfast.
Right. You're down for all breakfast meetups.
A lunch date, or like right after work, let's, go have food.
Yeah.
And even then sometimes I'm like, oh, but just the thought of like taking my bra off at the end of the day is way more enticing. Like, I want to skip the taco and go home, put my sweatpants on, take off the bra, because women, we all know it's like, it's such a relief when we let those,
What's just
bad
itchy
boys
and scratchy or what? Like what?
It's not itchy or scratchy. It's just like
Constrictive?
having on like balls cup or something that men wear for a day. It like supports it, but it just gets like old after a while. Like, I don't know what's a balls cup. A jock strap? Is that what it is?
Well, I'm like, can we Google ball cup? Like,
Oh my God.
Whatever
the
I don't know
things
what
are,
pictures
like
come up there.
something that's just like compressive and you just want to like let it all hang out.
Well, okay, so I can only relate that to like if I wear a pair of pants that maybe don't fit as loose and comfortable as I'd like them to, due to certain problems, right? Yeah, you come home, you take those off, you put on some gym shorts or sweatpants or
And you're
something.
like, oh God, this feels so good.
Yeah. Did you feel that way with like those like the pregnancy pants that have the elastic in the front? Like
Honestly, no, it's just bras.
People still wear those?
Yeah, I take care of pregnant women every day, and I'm like, go ahead and pull the belly part down so I can take a listen to the baby's heartbeat and stuff. But yeah, those were great pants. Those were fabulous. I mean, I wouldn't wear them now, but yeah, I think if you're wearing 2 sizes too tight pants every single day, then you get home and you're like, oh God.
I mean, I like to take my socks off. Does that count?
No.
No, it's not the
at
same.
all.
All right. Well, see, the problem with going out though is like I wear contact lenses, and they're good for so many hours. So if I'm going to go out at a certain late evening time frame, I got to plan accordingly. I got to prep my eyes. I got to get myself ready.
You're a little over the top about your contacts. You're like,
well, if I'm driving,
I
got to
get them out. I got to take them out now and rest my eyes so that I can put them back in if we're going out. Like, it does revolve a lot around your contacts. I'm like, well, just wear your glasses.
I hate my glasses. I can't stand it. Like, I can wear them at home for a little bit, but like they're not. Maybe I just need new frames. Maybe I got some new rims. Maybe that'll.
I'm the opposite. I can't even wear contacts anymore. Well, my eyes suck and I can't see for shit anyway, even with it. But contacts just bother my eyes.
Which is a sad anyway, because you had the laser surgery, 12 years ago?
20.
Was it that long ago? Holy crap.
I was in my 20s. I know that. Because they were like, well, when you get 40, you're going to need reading glasses. And I'm like, that's fine. Who cares? And I didn't realize the fine print that they didn't tell you is that one of the side effects of laser eye surgery is extreme dry eye, to the point where like 90-year-olds, right? You're like, they have crazy dry eye. Their eyelids stick together when they go to open them. That's what I'm thinking.
The thought of that is gross.
I have such bad dry eye that everything just is blurry all the time. And like, I'll rub my eyes real quick. I can see for a second and then everything's blurry. It's the most annoying thing ever. So I'm working on that.
I think that might be the problem. Like sometimes if I'm driving and I'm one of my bad habits just in life in general is I touch my face, right? They say don't ever touch your face, but I touch my face, usually around my eyes. I'm like, if I have an itch or something or whatever it is, or it's just psychological discomfort, I have no idea.
I think everybody touches their face.
Well, probably, right. But when I'm driving on my contacts in, I'm afraid I don't want to actually hit it and one falls out, and sometimes I think they dry up. I think that might be the problem. Maybe I just need some little eye droppy squirts. Yeah. See what happens.
I would say don't touch other people's face. That's probably a rule.
It's a good rule.
Yeah.
It's a good rule, right? It's like your nose, right? You can pick your friends, you can pick your nose, but you can't pick your friend's nose.
Sure. We'll go with that. And who touches their eye and their contact falls out? I mean, I think that's a little dramatic. You're like, I'm afraid to touch my eye and
it happens.
Pop out. It does not happen. Like, what? Okay, so bottom line, we're old. Going out late at night is like a lot for us.
Like it happens.
We do it sometimes.
I don't know that I think that if I'm out, depending on the event, I'd say now that I'd get tired, but I've been out late and it's fine. Like I don't get tired if you're in the middle of doing stuff. If you're just sitting down somewhere and having a drink or two, that's chilling out time. If you're at a show or something or you're doing activities, like if we go on vacation, we'll stay up later because of the shit going on.
Will we?
Well, some nights, maybe not every single night. But if it's like a cruise or something, or you're at a casino, like things like that, like, let's rip this up for a few hours.
If you lose track of time because you're having fun, great. But yeah, I agree. Like, oh, let's go to dinner with a bunch of people, or let's meet up at this bar and have some drinks. And it's like, well,
the timer starts
after 2 drinks.
I got to get you
I could
home.
be many things.
You have a window of opportunity where you may or may not be frisky. So I have to get you home during that time frame, so I get a successful evening.
You're ridiculous.
So this is what
True,
this is what I don't miss. If you remember, what makes me think of this is someone just asked me about this the other day. I was supposed to go hang out with somebody, and they said, "Oh, I got to take my kid to this like birthday party," right? And it just made me think, and I wrote it down. I took these notes, and I'm like, this is one of the things that I'm so glad we don't have to do. I don't want to say anymore, but pretty much anymore or ever, right? Because Kira's 11,
awful.
right? So when she goes to a friend's house, it's a dump and run.
Drop off.
Yeah.
The drop off.
But you were never really a stay-at-home mom. Like, you would work nights, so you'd be home during the day. Like, we didn't do a lot of daycare with our kids. Like, one of us was typically, we try to have a good schedule going. But yeah, you were never really meet at the park with Starbucks moms and gossip about whatever they gossip about.
No, they're just weird. Like, they make me uncomfortable. And it's probably maybe because I'm just socially awkward, but I'm not that mom that's like, let's send out this message to some group of people. Let's meet up with the kids at the park and they can all play. And it's like, oh my God, how uncomfortable is that? Like, I don't know you. And so even at birthday parties, it was awful because I always felt like I was taking them to the birthday parties until like we went through a couple kids and I'm like, no, we got to tag team this shit.
I had a good system down for a while. You caught on.
You did. But I feel like I'm either in the corner alone, like just looking at my phone, like being the weirdo left out, or you sit next to, your kids are at a bouncy place or whatever, and you're like stuck sitting on a bench next to someone else, and you're just like, hey, which kid is yours? And you start making small talk, but then it's like awkward silence. I've never been, or you're the type of mom that like knows everybody, all the kids. I'm not that. Like, you volunteer in the classroom all the time and you are PTA mom. No, that was never me. And so once they got to the point where it was a drop off, I'd be like, all right, this is going to work.
So you didn't want to go to the party and have to like
sit there,
make a tower of popsicle sticks, or like
honestly, if it gave me something to do, I would. I'd be like, let's do some popsicle sticks. But no, it was more like, some sort of arts and crafts thing the kids were doing, or the bouncy houses, or I don't even remember what other party people had.
Right.
But those type of things where it's like, no, you just got to sit for the 2 hours and then wait.
There was a, I don't remember if it was Kira or Jayla, but there was a party we went to, and I thought it was Kira from a couple of years ago when she was maybe second grade or third grade. But either way, one of the kids, I dropped them off to this party. It was like a princess party, so they had to wear like a dress. So we had like an old Halloween, Rapunzel dress, or Cinderella, whatever it was. Mm-hmm. So I bring her over there, and I'm thinking it was Jayla, but I'm not sure. But anyways, you go there, and I'm told it's a drop off. Right, so you get there, and there's a bunch of girls, and they're doing their thing, and they're outside playing, and then I start trying to like, I go in the house with her. Yeah. We find what things are, and I start backing away, and like the waterworks are coming, like they're like, "Oh, you're not leaving, are you?" And I'm like, no, of course not." Right, and so then now I'm sitting in this kitchen, like while my kid sees me through the window, right, with like you said, a bunch of moms, right? And I'm like, I was promised 2 hours off. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is cutting into my daddy time with no children.
And I probably already knew when I was like at home being like, sucker, how does it feel?
Yeah. So those, eventually I think I did leave and it was fine. But those are the situations where, if the kids have abandonment issues or something, like where they, like you can't just leave them. But I love nowadays where at least, our kids are older, but we went through a big stretch where the kids they hung out with, like if we knew their parents, even better. Because then it was like, hey, you don't need me to sit here and hold your hand while my kid plays with your kid. Right. You know what I mean?
And like the kids' friends that we were like close to, then we were always close with their family. And so, it was easy to be like, hey, you going to this birthday party? Like, if you go, then I'll, go next time, or
Yeah, I'll drop off, you pick up.
yeah, for the
something like
drop
that.
off stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even recently, there was the end of year like pool party for, the whole class, but it was like it's at a pool, so it's like, well, don't just drop them off. And I'm like, oh God. And so I know like one of her great friends who I'm friends with, I'd be like, you're going to that and you're staying there, right? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, so can Kira kind of catch with you?
Yep.
And she'd be like, yeah, I'm going to be there. I'm like, I love you. I love you. I love you. No take backs.
There's a lot of good moms like that too. So I don't want to like, not that you're not a good mom. I don't mean like,
Yeah,
I don't mean to differentiate. Like both sides of the equation are good, but they're just different styles. And I think it just, it depends on where you are in your life at that time.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with either side, because I'm happy for moms like that, because moms like that have these parties and they're doing the arts and crafts and they're setting up the pool parties, giving the kids a good time.
Oh God, yeah.
So if there's a way for us to contribute, like, hey, I'll show up with a bag of Capri Sun.
Oh, absolutely.
Here's the chips and cookies, sugar them up.
Even like room parents, like at
Yes.
school, I love the people who are volunteering in their room parents. I'm like, I will donate anything. Like, if there's a
Right.
list of 12, I'll take 6. And they're
Yeah.
like, no, there's plenty of people. Just pick one. I'm like, I will give anything. The fact that you're setting this up, that you're organizing it and like doing all that, those people are awesome.
Yeah, how many vials of blood can I donate to this cause
Yeah.
so I don't have to sit here for the day?
And it's not that I like don't want to do it. It's like, it's tough. I have a full-time job. I've always been like, we've been full-time parents and
Yeah.
kids. Like it's hard when I now work Monday through Friday, right? But you've always worked Monday through Friday. But even times where I was working 3 12-hour shifts, right? It's like, oh, you have 4 days off a week. But generally I'm a zombie because I just work night shift and I have to stay up with the kids all day just so we couldn't afford daycare, right?
Right.
Which is like a mortgage.
Yeah. It
By the
definitely was
way.
a cost saving, so that's the sacrifice.
I don't know how some people pay for it.
No.
It's literally like crazy. We had to do it with Kira when I was in grad school. And that was the first time. And it was $1,300 a
Well,
month.
maybe back in the day we should have been TikTok famous, and then we could have stayed home making TikTok and YouTube
No,
videos.
we really missed out on that.
Yeah, we missed that window. It's not too late
Next
though.
life.
I mean, for all the people that want to see videos of married couples of 26 years, like who knows? The people listening are like, how do you
I'm
get
not
the
sure if
TikTok?
they're on TikTok.
Probably not. Some might be, and if you are, like I said, we want your help. Yeah, so I don't miss that part of the young kids, but I'm thankful for where they are now with their ages and the independence that comes along with like Kira being 11. There's a good level of independence there, which I really enjoy.
Now, Kira being 11 is, yeah, she is independent and she does all that. But because we have such a huge age gap between the first 3 and
Yeah.
Kira, it is like she's an only child at this point, just because everyone else has moved out.
Some
And
days
so,
are nice and challenging.
yeah, well, things that the other 3, all did together, it kind of like, I feel bad sometimes that like they all got to experience like being siblings, right?
Yeah.
Like they were 3 years apart, each one. So they occupied each other, whether it was playing or arguing, whatever. But they had that like sibling thing. And they still do. They all just live together now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And so all 3 of them live together. So I feel bad sometimes like, ugh, maybe we shouldn't have waited so long to have Kira because I feel like she doesn't have that like person. But I guess that's every single person who has one child, right?
Yeah.
Then they have the same thing. But it's different. It's a different parenting type of thing, having only one kid. Like,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
versus having tons
This
of
is
them
the
in
first
house.
time I feel like, exactly like you said, like it feels like we have an only child for the first time ever, because we've never had just one kid in the house that wasn't like, the first, Gavin as a baby doesn't count, right? But even when he was 3, boom, Mackenzie's here, and it's like, oh, now you have to juggle 2. And then it's like, what do you do? And I'm glad we got those out of the way, if you will, at a young age, because I feel like we're still young and ripe enough to do some fun stuff. We may be a little bitter and cynical about some certain things, but you know what? We're going to do it anyway. We're going to have a good time doing it.
Yeah.
And this is our next wave of life that we're trying to move through. So
Yeah. I had my first 3 by 25.
That's crazy.
Can you imagine if I would have quit while I was ahead? Like,
I can't imagine. Yes, I absolutely.
I don't know
can.
what I would do. It's so weird. Like, what would I do all the time?
I don't know.
I guess I'll find out in another 9 years or whenever when she moves out, graduates.
That's true, and then we'll have the house to ourselves. So you said you were reading. You get a chance to read with football season here. What's your book of the week? Like, what do you?
Well, I told you I read several a week, but
Yes.
to throw, one out there.
Okay.
Because I read different types of genres as well. So one of the books that I just read this week is like a suspense, like mystery suspense type of thing, which actually was pretty good. So it's called The Drowning Women. It's by Robin Harding. And
Drowning Women. All right.
Yes, The Drowning Woman, like one woman.
Oh, one singular. Okay.
But it was pretty good. Like, it caught you from the beginning, I thought. And then good story, twist, turns. I'm always thinking somebody's doing something like, oh, that one's guilty. And I'm like, oh, maybe not. That type of stuff. Good ending. I would say probably as you get towards the end, it was a little bit predictable. But overall, I enjoyed it. Good story. Good book.
Is
Check
that
it out.
something you could see turned into like a movie at some point? Maybe like a Lifetime or?
Oh, it could totally be turned into one of those like
Yeah.
Lifetime movies for sure.
Okay. The Drowning
It might
Woman.
already be. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sounds like something that would be on Lifetime.
Yeah. Okay. Or it sounds like every other mystery movie that's already out there.
On Lifetime.
Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Pretty good.
I haven't read anything differently this week, but I did catch up on the first season of Rings of Power, which is a prequel to the Lord of the Rings movies. Season 2 of Rings of Power just came out. I haven't started that yet because they're not releasing it all at once. So I'm going to wait and try to binge that. But if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, I actually really enjoyed the Rings of Power season 1. When it came out a couple years ago, it came out the same time as the Game of Thrones prequel. So I think
Yeah.
it lost some audience members because of that. But if you have Amazon Prime and you're a fan of Lord of the Rings, I would say check out Rings of Power. It's pretty good. There's a couple good characters that if you've seen the other movies, like it helps, but they're not the same actors anyway. So it's nice. Like there's some good character development is what I'm getting at.
I enjoyed the first season. I liked it. Gavin, he did not. He didn't even continue with it. He was like, no. But
He was too into Game of Thrones. Though.
It
Like,
was.
he
It was
wouldn't give
tough when you're competing with Game of Thrones for anything, to be honest. But
Yeah.
you have to look at it kind of similar. Like, this is like centuries before
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings came out.
Yep.
And so you have to think of it as a completely different storyline. And it really kind of is a completely different storyline.
Yeah.
But I thought it was still good. It was entertaining. Not Game of Thrones, House of Dragons entertaining, I don't think, but it was still a good series.
We can agree to disagree. I think there's some.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I think that the first season of strictly speaking of the prequels, right? Like the House of Dragons season 1, I thought was good. It was really good. Like it was. I enjoyed the Lord of the Rings more for me because maybe I was in a more of a Lord of the Rings frame of mind. I had a harder time adapting to some of the characters in the Game of Thrones series, the prequel.
Wow.
It's entertaining and the production value is incredible. And there's like Daemon is a character that I absolutely loved. But when I think I might be skewed because season 2 of Game of Thrones is done, and season 2 was such a letdown because all it was a big build up for the next season. So now we have to wait another year and a half or whatever for another season to come, and it never really paid off. Like there was 1 or 2 episodes that were pretty good, and you're like, oh, okay, dragon fights and different things. But when you think about the original Game of Thrones series, like there was at least half a dozen characters that like you were like, oh, like what's this person gonna do? What's this person gonna do? Like you love the Hound, you love Arya, you love the different,
Damn right.
Jon Snow and like Daenerys. Like there's just a lot of pieces of that where you're like, even side characters in the first one, and this one was like,
There was also 7 seasons?
yeah, but
of Game
even
of
if
Thrones,
you watched,
it's different.
if you watch season 1 of Game of Thrones, you still start to feel for a couple characters in there. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But you're right. It took, you're when you're in season 5 of Game of Thrones, like you're emotionally invested in these characters. So maybe season 3 of Game of Thrones kind of pushes it over the edge, but
Yeah.
it's tough because I think I'm become kind of like an actor snob at this point, because when you realize the good performance of someone like Tyrion Lannister, right? Like
Yeah.
what's what's his name? I forget. But he, you know, like he's such a good actor. Like, and you take that for granted because you just see him doing his thing. Like even Daenerys, like, you know, love her or hate her, but she's a good actress, right? So she delivers the roles the way that she's supposed to. And you just don't see a lot of that in some of these other series. You know, like I love like Davos in the main series, and he's such a side character, but his acting chops are top notch to me.
Right.
You know, but
I don't know. I thought that season 1 of the House of Dragons, I thought that was great. I thought the character development was great. It had good suspense. We got to see any of the stuff that had the dragons was like amazing.
that's why you watch it, right?
Yeah. But I don't feel like that's why we watched Game of Thrones.
Not
I didn't watch it for the
first one, you mean?
dragons. Yeah. Like for the series, I didn't watch it for the dragons. You watch it for the people and the characters and things like that. Like this one is so much about the dragons and the riders and like the wars between, you know, the different houses, which I felt like is a little different. But I personally thought it was better than the Lord of the Rings one. But
Okay.
hey, to each his own.
Yeah, you're entitled. You're
Sure
entitled
am.
to that.
I like what I like.
And part of that's me, so that works out. So, all right. So listen, if you are listening to this and you even enjoyed it, even just a smidge, you know, you share this with one friend, you know, follow us on TikTok or something, and you can give some pointers to Stacie's
Or
videos,
Facebook or Instagram.
any of them. Yep.
Make sure you like, follow, share, like you said, with even one friend is good.
Yep. So what we're looking for at this point too is what do you think that is a topic that we can talk about? So we go through like, you know, kids and marriage and stuff, and we have a collection of things that we're going to continue to bring out. But if there's anything particular you want to talk about, maybe you have a story you want to tell, happy to give you a mention if you want or whatever. You know, if you have something to contribute. So happy to be more interactive.
Or
with you as well.
awesome parenting advice.
Yes. Or you know what? You know, we're not shy to be judgmental on what we do or don't do. So we welcome yours as well. If you don't agree with our parenting style and you can say that in such a nice way, then maybe we'll read it and listen.
Yeah. I will say though, you know, parenting is no joke. Like it's hard. It's hard work. And I would never, and I tell people, don't ever judge another parenting style. Like people parent differently, and that's okay because everyone's kids are different. I mean, even we saw the way we parent one kid, we had to do completely different with a different kid.
That's true.
And so, you know, people have certain parenting styles and they can change. Like ours have changed being just the experience of doing it for a lot of the stuff. But don't ever judge what goes on behind closed doors of other people. Like they're going through their own stuff. Everybody goes through their own shit. So don't be nasty to other people. People have their own stuff and that's okay. It's their shit. Deal with your shit.
That's well said, babe.
Going out with a bang.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks for listening to this episode, and we will check you again.
Check you later.